Okay, today is Friday, August, not sure, late August, mid to late August, probably around the 20th, somewhere in there, and it's my first day of my weekend. Just cleaned up a little bit out here. I was able to water throughout the week, but I hadn't really pruned anything or trellised anything, so I did just clean up a bit between last night and today, and I'm just documenting how everything looks. The zinnias are starting to fill in, which looks really great. Nowhere close to last year, but I'm happy with it. It's just going to keep getting better and better. I did deadhead some of the teddy bear sunflowers down below, and they have some smaller heads that will come out now. They won't be as big as the initial blooms, but you can see we're going to get some action here. There's a cat over there in the corner that looks like Bobo, but it's not. That's actually Monk, and he lives behind us here. This is the first time he has felt comfortable enough to nap while I've been back here, so I think I've been building my trust with him. I've been putting out a water bowl out back, and I've noticed all the cats drinking out of it, so I think he knows I mean him no harm. But anyway, I did pull out one teddy bear sunflower there. Oh, look, he's waking up. I bet he scurries off here soon. Hi, Monk. Anyway, I pulled one teddy bear sunflower out because it didn't have any secondary or third flowers like this one. And I actually have another one I can throw in the ground there, so that's cool. The moonflower that bloomed maybe like 2 weeks ago is putting out another blossom, which is awesome. Super excited about that. I have a really tiny moonflower down here, and I don't have a flower on that yet, but I'm sure it will put one out eventually. It got stunted in its container. It was probably one of the runts, if I remember correctly, but now that it's been put into the ground, it's really starting to catch up, which is great. I'm hoping that my marigolds have another flush of blooms. There are a bunch of buds on these plants. I've been deadheading them, and I have lots of heads drying for seeds next year, which is one of the things I love about marigolds. So my gamble paid off, and the cosmos are putting out the most lovely buds, nice and robust. You can see if I can get it to zoom in. Yeah, it's really nice sized buds are coming out of these plants. I've got a couple flowers. So I'm so glad I took the time to tend to those plants, and I didn't give up on them, and I'm being rewarded. Oh, it looks like he just shifted positions and went right back to sleep. That is so sweet. Zoom in on some of my zinnias. There's a yellow one over here that's really nice. The Shasta daisies are petering out, so I've clipped them all down. There might be a couple stragglers, like I see just one little bud right here, but for the most part this plant is winding down. It bloomed super late this year just because of the way the weather was, so and this particular plant was in the shade a lot, so it lasted way longer than the ones that were on the side of the house, so that was nice. This is the teddy bear sunflower that I think I'm going to get into the ground over there in garden bed 2. And I have another moonflower about to bloom in a little pot, and I'll pick a spot and hopefully get that into the ground soon too. The cucumbers are doing great. they've reached the top of the trellises and now they're coming back down. And I've harvested so many cucumbers, and there's still more forming, which is so great. I really have had really great luck in these gardens with cucumbers. Not so much with zucchini, but cucumbers, definitely yes. So yes. Lots of little ones. We'll see what happens. I should have waited to harvest the tomatoes today because there were so many that were red and ripe, and they're lovely to film and photograph. But I didn't, so you can see there's still a lot of red ones, but they're not quite ripe enough yet. Probably in another day or two. Pretty much every day now I come out here and get a big fistful of fresh tomatoes. Oops. The other day I came out and noticed that the tops of these tomatoes were completely broken and flattened out. They had just basically bent over sideways, and I couldn't figure out if maybe an animal had... Here, I'll show you. All three plants, 1, 2, and 3, they got real tall, and all of those tall branches like basically snapped over and were laying sideways. Now they were still attached to the plant, but they looked terrible, and I'm sure it was stressing the plants out, so I ended up taking all that off and pruning them. The one on the fourth one over here has a lot of runners that survived. In fact, I don't know if you can tell, but that's a tomato top right there. So that particular plant has gone crazy, and I'm glad it's being held up by the grape leaves there. So, but I think my thinking was there are so many tomatoes over here that I really just wanted these plants to start focusing on ripening them up rather than new growth. So yes, they don't look as tall and luscious, but we'll probably get a better yield because of it. So that's fine. Those larger ones are the gardener's delight. They finally started ripening. The Mexican midgets have been ripening for several weeks now, so yes. Okay. Got a teddy bear sunflower down there. I'm probably going to take this head off and let the plant put its energy into all these beautiful little fresh heads. It's getting a little shaded by this humongous zucchini plant. I don't know if this camera's doing it justice, but the plant is obviously the largest it's been. And we're not having a whole lot of luck. Today, I did hand pollinate one of the female flowers. And it looks like after I did that, we had some ants arrive on the scene, so they're probably helping to spread the pollen around. I had saved a female flower in the fridge, and I grabbed it this morning and used it to pollinate this female flower. I did try to pollinate 2 other female flowers, but I noticed the flower had closed, and when I tried to pry it open, the stamen, I think it's called, was turning brown, so I knew I missed the window on those. So looks like, though, under here there's another female flower, and there's lots of male flowers coming up now. So I am not giving up on this plant yet. We might get zucchini yet, but not yet. I think I counted 7 peppers. Some are real tiny. We only have one really large one. Let me try to get some good footage of it. There's one. It's a pretty nice size. There's another one starting in the back there. And we've got one there. More flowers up above. Here's a mini one. And over here, oh, this plant's really looking good. It's got one up top that's real tiny. And some larger ones forming. So, we'll get something. Again, it's my first year growing peppers. These are bullnose peppers. And I'll be excited with whatever we get. I thought the marigolds were petering out, but really they are just continually surprising me. The bees are really liking these flowers. I noticed this year that I don't know if last year I just didn't notice or I didn't remember, but this year the marigolds smell just as good as a good rose. They have been utterly fantastic. So, yeah. In the back there, we've got another queen of the garden coming up. Another moonflower is about to bloom. Hopefully that focused. This particular plant has 2 flowers, as you can see. And I think probably tomorrow morning we'll see a bloom there. If not tonight, pretty sure tomorrow morning though, or tonight. Hopefully I don't miss it. I'll be out here first thing, checking. And I'll add that footage in if I get some. So yeah, everything's looking great. Hopefully I don't disturb Monk, but there's just one more flower over here. This pink one that I think is really beautiful. Okay, so I guess I will go out to the deck and get some footage of the potted plants, which are also looking just as great. Stand by. Okay, I'm down here on the deck and I'm about to water some of my potted plants and prune off some dead leaves and just overall tend to all the plants. That's one of the teddy bear sunflowers that I deadheaded, and it has 3 other blooms coming on, which is awesome. I did bring all the plants in from the porch. There's all their receptacles, pots I should say, because I wanted to keep a closer eye on them. I noticed that out front, anything I left on the porch would get 1, attacked by slugs, and 2, would dry out pretty quickly, and they really need bigger pots, so until I do that, I've been keeping them back here because I know to water them. It's more convenient to water them. And so down here I've got a teddy bear sunflower that I brought back, and I did deadhead this one again so that these 2 other flowers can start looking nice, and same with this one back here. There's 2. So that's great. The zinnia planter is looking pretty healthy. I don't have any more blooms, but there's a little one starting up there. Like I always say, anything we get in this planter is just a bonus, because those plants were goners anyway, so. My basil is looking great. It needs a drink, but other than that, it's been fabulous. I've never even up-potted these plants, and I have a ton of basil drying downstairs. I just recently did another pruning on these plants. I would like to get them into the ground, but I don't have a spot for them. So I've just been good about watering them and giving them fish emulsion every now and then. And I've just been making the best of it. Maybe I'll slip a picture in of some of the dried basil that I have going. And yeah, so there's my marigolds. Again, I've also just been giving these guys as much regular water as I can, along with fish emulsion, and there is a chance I'll get some of these into the ground, which may prolong their life a little bit, but for right now, I haven't had the time, and I'm just keeping them alive in these containers. They had a wonderful flush of blooms that I've deadheaded, and now you can see they're covered in buds again. So I'm about to cut this one off to bring into the garage for drying. That's the last flower from the first wave. Over here, I did get my green onions planted into a large pot. And I recently took a harvest off here, so they look a little thin. And they're not doing that great, but they have been putting out new shoots, and honestly, it's great. I just bring them in, put them in a vase of water, and then we just slice them up fresh and throw them in whatever we're eating. But yeah, so I'm sure they're happy to have more space at least. This was one of the original marigold plants that I had out on the porch, and the one behind it up there is the other one. I had brought them back here a few weeks ago to rejuvenate them, and you can see I have been successful. Again, everything I put on the porch gets attacked by slugs, so I don't know if I'm going to put anything else out there. I might just keep it back here for Dave and I to enjoy. But the plant looks really great. My Shasta daisies are hanging on. They're root bound, but once I get them into a larger pot, they'll do just fine. My thyme and sage are looking great. I would like to get these up potted at some point, and I just haven't had the time. So I've literally been harvesting it off these little planter boxes and bringing it inside for drying. Not so much with the sage as much as the thyme. I've taken 2 very large harvests of thyme, and it's already filled back in again since the last time, so I noticed it responds really well to regular pruning, and I've been giving it fish emulsion to keep the nutrient level high. And yeah, you can see some of these buds are like really big on this other marigold, so although they're deceptive, they look big, and then the flowers look like that, which aren't as big as the initial flowers, but that's okay. It's just great to get a second round. These are my spearmint plants, and they are not disappointing either. I've done so many prunings on these plants and brought the clippings inside for drying, and the tea is absolutely amazing, so delicious. It's one of my favorite teas, spearmint tea. So couldn't be happier with these guys, and I plan to keep them in these pots. They're pretty large, so I just keep them watered and occasionally fertilized, and they look great. And those are my catnips. I recently clipped all the flowers off, maybe like, I don't know, a week or 2 ago. And as you can see, anywhere that I've pruned, it's starting to put out multiple leaves. So that's what they say is bushing out. So the plant is bushing out in a wonderful way. They're both really sturdy now. And I think pretty soon here, because I've already clipped off some flowers, in fact, here's one flower. You can see it's forming. Pretty soon the plant will be covered in flowers, and I think that's what the cats really like. Although I'm not 100% sure, because the cats in this neighborhood have been totally ignoring these plants, which is fine. I mean, I don't really want them to get mauled, so. But yeah, we'll see what happens when they bloom. But it was a really cool thing to grow. My very first time growing a lot of these things. Oh my goodness, speaking of cats, there's Bobo. He's been being kept inside a little bit more these days, so I haven't had a chance to see him all day. I'm gonna go say hi. Hi, buddy. Hi. I've missed you. Hi, sweetie. Oh. You know, Monk is in the backyard. As soon as he realizes that, he's probably gonna run away. So I'm gonna give a little love to Bobo while he's here. And I'll end this one here. So, over and out for now.